Morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the second day of the TDWI Germany event, and I hope you all feel well. And we are starting our program today, and we'll have a keynote. Yesterday we heard about death and rebirth of BI. Today we will be big and beautiful, and I think that's a buzzword at the moment, big data. And Carsten Bange will be the presenter of the first session. He's the founder and CEO of BARC, Business Application Research Center, and know about the whole community and all the analytics about our marketplace. So I heard that big is beautiful. My opinion, small is beautiful. You get me. So start the presentation. Thank you very much for coming.
Good morning, everybody. I was asked to talk loudly, so I hope it's okay for you. After our last keynote yesterday was a little too slow or too low. And today my topic is big data. I think one of the biggest trend topics, not only in data management and BI, but also in the full or whole IT industry, interestingly. So it seems today that almost every IT vendor is doing something in big data, starting from the disk storage vendors and leading up to whatever kind of software you have that somehow handles data. So it's definitely a trend topic, and the goal for this presentation this morning would be to look at the technology side of it and give you a little insight what we see as a market analyst, what's rising, what's coming, and where you should maybe take a look how it would affect your business, and what implications we see on different aspects, like architecture, like data analysis, like data management. So starting off with a little look at this trend, I recently pulled out this Google trend that basically tells us how many searches were performed on Google in a specific time frame. And what you can see here, I compared data warehouse and big data. What you can see here, actually right now, about 4 weeks ago, big data surpassed data warehousing as a search term on Google. So there are more people interested in big data than on the search term data warehousing. So it's definitely a trend that is significant. Whether it's sustainable, we will see, but it's definitely something that moves people, that gets them interested, and want to learn more what's happening. Little look back, where does it come from? First bigger mention of this term, big data, was in the scientific community. So it made the title page of Nature already in 2008. And in this magazine, basically, scientists were describing how many problems they had with handling the vast amounts of data they were collecting everywhere. In climate models, in astronomy, when looking at very small particles. Everywhere, science is generating tremendous amounts of data, and they were simply facing frontiers. They were simply facing situations where they couldn't handle that anymore, despite even having supercomputers at their hands in research labs. They simply said, we cannot handle this amount of data anymore, we need new ways to handle data. And they basically came up with the term big data, and were starting to look for solutions. The term made it into business around 2010. The Economist titled, one of the leading international business magazines, it titled The Data Deluge, basically describing the tremendous amounts of data again now businesses are confronted with, and the question is what to do actually with it, how to handle it, how to work with data and get a competitive advantage, because you could see already at that time that many companies that were highly competitive in their industries were often using data much more sophisticated, much better than their competitors. And this was starting to get the interest of business people, and basically made it to the boardroom around 2011 then, with a pretty famous McKinsey study saying big data, the next frontier for competitiveness. So basically we can say today, it's definitely in the business. We see many businesses where the top management, the board, actually gives assignments to people in the business to get more knowledgeable about big data, and basically to turn a strategy into action that's called become a data-driven company. Make data used to our advantage, and see that we remain competitive using this asset we have in the company. And a local example here, the leading German financial magazine, Capital, titled very recently, only 2 months ago, Rockefeller 3.0, and they were basically picking up the story that data is the asset of the 21st century. Companies and people that will be able to work with that asset, to harness it, to make it useful, will basically be the ones that rule the industry and rule the business world. So this term is now pretty often cited. Data is the oil of the 21st century. Probably yes, since oil is so dominating in the last century, or was so dominating in the last century. We see now that there's a big shift happening to what actually drives company, like oil is driving the economy today. It could really be that it's data in this century that will drive the economies. But to be very sure, oil itself, what is it? It's greasy, sticky, it's actually poisonous. So you wouldn't actually want to use it. So to make it into something useful, you have to do something. And that's, I think, a good allegory to data also, because basically you need to refine it. So you have a raw material that is pretty hard to access, pretty hard to get to. This is also something similar to the data world, but once you have it, it's not really useful. So you need to do something, and you need to apply technology to it to make it useful, to actually be able to do something with it. To actually, in this case, run machines with it. And for us, it's basically we have to refine the raw material, the raw data, to make it something useful that we can work with in business. And technology is the driver, also for the top management today. This is the annual CEO study IBM conducts. And it's really interesting that this year is actually the first year where CEOs recognize that from the external factors that are influencing their business, it's actually technology that influences the business most. So it's technology advancements in the company, outside of the company, that influences, it's the external, most important external force impacting the organizations. It's for sure not only IT, it's not only information technology, it's also production technologies and other technologies. But information technology gets a more and more important stance in the way companies remain competitive. And data is at its core, and that's why we can surely say data could be the oil of the 21st